Welcome to Baseball Biz. I'm Mark Harbit, and on deck today, we have Mr. Nate Andrews of Full Count Chaos. He's been our guest before here, and if it's about the Orioles, he knows about it. If it's about baseball, he knows about it. And if it's about fun, he knows about it. So welcome, the irrepressible Nate Andrews. How you doing, man?
I'm good. What an intro. Now I got to live up to that intro, but I appreciate you having me on. How's everything going?
It's nuts. I just keep looking at all the stuff popping out. The nice thing about being baseball biz, it doesn't matter what time of year it is. There's always some kind of chicanery or something going on in the front
you guys,
office.
you go year round, right? You don't stop.
Yeah. No. I mean, last week I had Judge Lou Schiff on here, and we were talking about what's going on with the Major League Baseball and those few teams in the minor leagues that were suing them, as far as like the Staten Island Yankees and the Sea Dragons, etc.
I love minor league team names. I mean, you could just go down the list. I swear, people, when they name those teams, it's just a bunch of guys having a few drinks, and one guy will be like, I got one. Let's try this. And then, the owner will be like, screw it. Let's do it. But you're around the clock 24 hours a day.
Try, brother.
You're doing it, man. I guess you could, I don't know, put me in the category of lazy. I kind of take off a few months once the season is over. And the way the Orioles pattern is, that season's over pretty quick.
Oh,
but hopefully, future looks bright.
Sure.
I'll be doing podcasts maybe late October now, hopefully coming up. Way it's looking.
I would hope so. I really do, man. I mean, I look at you guys last year. I had great hopes for you. As much as I am a race fan, I'm a baseball fan first. And to see any team nurture and grow, was really important to me. Yeah. And I tell you what, I do want to play some remarks from Mr. Elias the other day. And
okay.
The goal in mind of getting this team back to the playoffs as soon as possible and sort of keeping us in a state of not having to go through a gigantic, traumatic rebuild of this degree ever again. At least it's within our control. So kind of keeping all those things in mind with that balance in mind.
He was talking about is the status of we're no longer in rebuild time.
Well, I'm glad that Elias is in that state of mind of we're not in rebuild anymore. And I know a lot of fans in Baltimore was hoping that when this rebuild, and I always shriek when I say the word rebuild, and I always say on the podcast, that's a word I'm going to try to never have to use again. I think after the first year of the rebuild, fans were wondering, why is he still using the word rebuild? You know what I mean? So it's been many years. Well, I don't know, 4 or 5 years, but it feels like it's been 20 of hearing the word rebuild. So yes, hearing him say those words of, we're not in rebuild anymore. It's orgasmic to my ears. It's to all fans' ears in Baltimore. Cause I mean, even when they were doing well, I mean, you go 2012 up to what was 2016, 2017. I mean, that was great. That was a little small chunk, and it was fun being an Orioles fan. But even before 2012, I mean, you're going back 98, 99, all through the 2000s. Basically, it's been, I mean, you want to go all the way back to the late 90s, all the way up to now. I mean, Oriole fans have only had a few years of fun. So going through the rebuild was miserable, but hearing Elias say those words, it's fantastic. He also said it's liftoff time, liftoff. Basically, during the end of the season, he's, it's let's go time. Basically, like, I'm not messing around anymore.
Is that an Astros term, liftoff?
I don't know. He probably uses a lot of terms that he used when he was with Houston as well. It's like, a lot of Oriole fans probably be like, hell yeah. But it's like, well, he said the same stuff with Houston. So calm down, which is a good thing. I shouldn't say calm down. We should get excited because, if he's, doing the same talk he did with Houston, that's a good thing. But I also think at the same time, and there's still time, but I thought by now, and who am I to judge Elias on how and what he's going to do? And the guy loves his trades. So, maybe there's a trade that we're going to see coming up, but I thought he was going to spend some money on pitching. Again, we can get into that later, but kind of circling back around of your original question, and how's it feel to hear him say, we're not in rebuild anymore? Oh, are you kidding me? It's fantastic. Absolutely. It's like, here's something like that. I tell my wife, I don't need Viagra tonight. I'm just going to play that audio again and I'll be ready to go.
Well, but It does take time to happen, and it looks like the fruits are starting to be there. I'm looking at the top 100 prospects right now, and I noticed in the top 12, you got 3 of them, buddy. You got 3 really hot prospects there.
Oh yeah, the top 100 we have the Orioles have 9 or 10. I think it's 9. Yeah, but no, you're right. Absolutely. I mean, of course, we're seeing it. Again, it feels like it's been 20 years, but yeah, man, the future's bright. You know, a lot of Oriole fans, we always kid around. We got to start wearing sunglasses because, you know, future's so bright. But yeah, you're right. It's, you know, Gunnar Henderson, Grayson Rodriguez. Those are all guys. I mean, Jackson Holliday is in the top 20 of top 100 prospects on ESPN, and he was just drafted in 2022. So, you know, it's going to be interesting. At this point, it's beyond being an Orioles fan. We're past the rebuild thought. So now the pressure's on. You know, it's every game going back to throwing stuff at the wall and kicking the TV, and every game matters. The past 2 or 3 years, it was kind of like, you know, all right, well, we'll get them tomorrow. We're in rebuild mode. Whoopity doo. You know, here we go back to the, you know, just the excitement every single game, because now we're thinking to ourselves, all right, playoff or bust, World Series or bust. The guys that are on the roster now and who are, you know, in the rearview mirror coming up, it should feel that way. But yeah, you're right. Seeing the top 100 prospects and seeing those Orioles all cluttered together, that's awesome.
I think there's so much. The future is now. Those guys, I mean, Gunnar Henderson's going to be out there. Grayson Rodriguez, he's going to be out there. Holliday, you may or may not have.
No, he got invited, though, to spring training.
Oh, good.
He did get an invitation. Yeah, he's like number 17 on ESPN. He's like number 14 on MLB.com prospect. It's crazy. His ETA, I think 2024, 25 latest. But anyway, yeah, it's exciting stuff with being an Orioles fan right now. It's been some heavy years, Mark.
And it's easy to criticize what you guys have as far as payroll. I know right now, I think you guys from Sports Track are saying you guys are about 50 million total for the
God. Yeah, I know. It's like pick 5 teams right now, and one player is making more than the whole team. It's crazy.
Yeah, and when you look at the signing bonuses, though, it showed a commitment to some strong players. I mean, what Adley Rutschman, you got him, I think, for like 8.1 million signing bonus.
Yeah,
and Holliday, you got him for 8.19 signing bonus. So I think there's a commitment from, you know, the Orioles I wouldn't necessarily thought of a year ago to the future. So I think the future is now for you guys. I'm looking playoff time for you guys this year.
Oh yeah, 100%. I mean, that's what I mean. Like, it's going to be fun, but it's going to be back to the thinking of playoff or bust. And I feel it should be that for any fan, any team. You know, I don't think any fan wants to go out there or feels they should go out there and go, well, you know, let's just try to win with a winning record. No, you want to always go out there and say World Series or bust. And that's why it was so difficult with the rebuild, because it's when they would get their butts kicked 8-10 games in a row. You just kind of have to take it on the chin. You know what I mean? Because normally, yeah, of course, regardless, you'd be screaming and yelling and fire this person and fire and that person should be. But when you're watching a rebuild and you're watching these guys who's probably going to be working at Home Depot in the next year or two, and you're losing 10 in a row, it's a weird state of mind to just say, well, that's what's supposed to happen right now. So, you know, it was rough.
Well, think about this. So I'm curious how it's going to change the nature of the game. And that is the schedule this year. In past years, we've had to play each team 16 times in their own division.
Yep.
And the AL East division has been strong. You know, you've seen some come up and some go down, but there's always maybe 4 of the teams that are really performing.
It's insane. Yeah. It's like 3 or 4 making the playoff. It's crazy. East is the beast. And, you know, I know some fans, Oriole fans, complain, be like, oh, the division's so hard and we can't keep up with payroll. Well, you know, my response is, well, you want to be the best, you got to beat the best. So figure it out. Don't sit there and bitch and complain. But yeah, I get it. I mean, when you look at the amount of money that the Yankees and Red Sox bring into the Orioles, yeah, that's a that can be a different kind of conversation. But seeing that we don't have to play, the Yankees and the Red Sox and even the whole division as much as we used to, I think that's great. I mean, again, it goes back to, well, if you want to be the best, beat the best and don't complain about it. But, the Orioles, I think, had better records than half the American League teams.
There you go.
You know what I mean? So
yeah,
I'm all for it. And that's going to be real interesting to see where the Orioles are right now, not only with the players they have now and we're past the rebuild mode and the team that they're putting out in 2023. And now, not having to see the Yankees. It's freaking Yankees, man. I want to throw up every time I just say their name.
Oh, I know it.
Who did they just sign? Who was I? No, I'm drawing a blank. It's the Dayquil I've been taking all day. My mind's mushy.
I have turned my back on anything Yankees till I have to look at them. I'll be quite honest with you. The whole idea disgusts me. I'll turn on Michael K once a month to see what he's having to say about the Yankees, and then the rest of them, no.
Just seeing that Aaron Judge, I thought for a little bit, the rumor was he was maybe going to the Giants, and it's like, yeah, just get him as far away as possible, send him across the country, and it was so devastating. And I have no beef against Judge. I wish Judge was an a-hole. I really do. You know what I mean? It's like you want to hate that guy so bad, but God, he's like the nicest dude. Like, I know people who have actually had conversations with him at Camden Yards, and he's just a good dude. And it's just like, God, I want to hate him, but he's such a nice guy. But yeah, I was so just knowing that we have to see him in Camden Yards, although he did complain about they call it Wall-timore. I'm sure you know what I'm talking about. The left field wall, pushing it back 20 miles and raising it up was like 14 feet or 12 feet, something like that. But yeah, I will say the one thing I can complain about Aaron Judge is he did complain. He really did. He sounded like a little kid the first day he came into Camden Yards after the wall, because he missed about 2 home runs by about 2 feet. Yeah. So after the game, he's like, I don't know. It looks like what do you call it? Like a build your own stadium on a video game or something like that. And yeah, I'll tell you what, the wall on Camden Yards, that's also part of the future. That's really going to help us out now too.
I'm looking forward to it. I mean, not just the wall, but we're talking about the schedule changes too. I mean, think about this. You, the fans, we're going to be able to see our team play every other team in the league. It hasn't been like that. We're going to see and you're going to see every team in your own stadium once every 2 years.
Yeah. And yep, that's cool, because my buddy and I, we got like a 15-20 game package kind of thing for the Orioles this season. And one of the games that we have is like, seeing the Reds, and I was like one of the first games. I said Reds. I said, God, I don't remember the last time I got to see the Cincinnati Reds play. So yeah, that's what I like as well. Not just, and I kind of was a little selfish thinking of me, the Oriole fan, only having to play the Yankees and the Red Sox. I mean, I should have thought also at the same time, I think it'll be neat for all fans to be able to see all teams. I think that is really neat. And it took them a while to do it, but whatever.
Well, and there's things, I think, if you're bringing up a child into seeing baseball, and in your city, they're going to have a chance to see guys like Shohei Ohtani. Somebody who can be a thumbprint for the entire generation of baseball.
Oh yeah, absolutely, 100%. I agree with that. And like I said, I'm just surprised it took them this long to do something like that. But
yeah,
there's a lot of things that are changing coming up this season that are interesting.
Speaking of which, what do you think about some of these rules? The clock, the base sizes, and all that. What any of those particularly sticking with you? Anything you said? Oh, my hell are you doing this?
The shifting, that's 2023, right?
Yep.
Didn't they make that?
Yep.
No shift, or I forgot what I think. All
we were shiftless this year.
Yeah, I'm perfectly okay with that. I know a lot of fans say, well, fans want to see, hits and home runs, and, they don't want to see outs and so. But I laugh because I think of these players, how much they get paid to hit a ball.
Yeah.
And it's like, your complaint is that it's not fair. You know how much money you're getting paid to hit a ball. Work on it. Figure it out. I get fans' argument about, well, we're not going to see as many base hits. Okay, boo-hoo. Figure it out. So that part I'm fine with. I'm fine with the shift. Not being the shift. I don't know. How do you feel about that, by the way?
I was fine with it staying in. I bothered me when I would see a team put defense out there like they had linemen between first and second, and that just kind of irked me. But overall, the idea isn't bad. It forced people like, say, a Bo Bichette with the Blue Jays. He was out there, and he changed his game. They quit shifting on the man. Like 2 years ago, they were all shifting on him, and he said, "Hey, guess what? I can find the other side of the field. I can make you work to find that ball." And much like you were saying, Judge, hey, wait a minute, you changed some of this. How am I going to deal with that? Well, you're a good, fantastic hitter. Adapt.
Right. Yeah, I think, and I may have been saying that backwards. And I apologize. I may have been getting that mixed up with the fans and what I was thinking. I'm perfectly okay with. Wait a minute. What was I saying here? Here it goes. Dayquil kicking. I think I took NyQuil by accident instead of Dayquil. That's what's happening right now. The brain is turning fuzzy. I take that back. I was okay with having the shift. I think that's what I was saying. Okay. I'm okay. Like the way it is now, where they're taking away the shift. I meant to say I'm okay with it, but I think it's hilarious that there was even an argument about it that hitters were saying it's unfair. So I'm hoping now I'm making sense that if they would have kept the shift, I would have been fine with it. I wasn't one of the people that wanted to get rid of the shift because I wanted to see more hits. And, I want to see these left-handed hitters who can't hit the other way get a base hit. I was the guy again saying it's absolutely asinine that a guy making $10 million a year can't hit the other way. But, I'm sure my mind will change when the Orioles, second and third, one out, we're down by one in the ninth. And, Adley Rutschman hits a little line drive to right field. Yeah, of course. I'm going to sit here and go, hell yeah. I'm all for no shift.
Well, one thing about that, you're talking about Adley Rutschman. He's a big part about how you work with these things. I was looking at MLB Network the other night, and they were talking about the top catchers, and not surprisingly, his name was up there at number 2 and some with number 1. And what that man can do, the way he can pop up with that ball and get it over to second so fast, to me, that's amazing.
His pop time's like at like 2 seconds. I think he's tied for like the 4th fastest catcher in the league. He's going to be something to watch, man. He's going to be something to watch.
Yeah, he's young blood, and he's such a great performer.
And he's already great with the fans. There's video of him hanging out with the Oriole fans the other day. The Orioles had a big
Did you have the Caravan? Those are the Orioles Caravan.
And there was video showing. I couldn't make it. I couldn't be there. The shame, because I would have loved to hang out with him. But Adley Rutschman, he's already won over the fans since day one. Just a genuine guy. But seeing how he was talking with the fans, he was having beers with the fans. I think even later in the night it was getting a little rowdy, and he was taking shots with the fans. But if he didn't have an Orioles jersey on it and I didn't know what he looked like, I would have thought he was just one of the guys hanging out with the fans, high-fiving everyone, just being silly. So, he's not only going to be just a great ball player with the Orioles, but I think he's just going to be just a special guy to be for the fans to come watch and, just participate with. So, yeah, a guy like Adley Rutschman, which, again, when the Orioles drafted, there was a small rumor that the Orioles weren't possibly going to take Adley Rutschman, which I don't know how you wouldn't have, because that year it was a no-brainer. He was the best on that list. But, yeah, Mark, he's going to be something. There's no doubt about that.
Well, I'm glad he's there. And what you just said, it sounds like he's probably a really good clubhouse guy with some positive energy there in the dugout as well.
Yep.
And that's immeasurable to me. I know with the Rays, when we had Willie Adames, I was just head over heels about that. Last year, David Peralta did some of that for us as well. But
that's awesome.
You got to have some positive energy, in the dugout. And
100%. I was going to say, speaking of the dugout, one guy I will miss. Now, look, the Orioles have been known over the years to have a lot of nice guys, a lot of good guys, a lot of, happy-go-lucky, yippity-dooby kind of guys. And that's great. Like Adley Rutschman. He's just a good guy. But one thing I will miss, I'm sure you know Odor. He's the guy that gave Bautista a nice right hook a few years ago. I am going to miss Odor. Now, there were a lot of plays, boneheaded plays by Odor, at the bat, although there was some games that he helped win with the Orioles, and the double plays, man, he had a rocket for an arm, or he has a rocket. But I will miss that. I miss you got to have one of those players in there who's just ready to throw down. You know what I mean? Just a roughneck kind of guy. Not saying he's walking around with a chip on his shoulder yelling at everybody, but, it's great to have great ball players and guys like Adley Rutschman, but, got to sometimes try to grab one or two of those players like Odor, who's when the bench is clear, the other side's going to kind of probably think twice before they walk over there because they know who's on the other side. And it's kind of funny, Odor being on the Orioles, it was probably the least amount of times I've ever seen benches clear or any team mess with the Orioles, which could have just been an ironic coincidence, but I thought that was funny. But yeah, going back to Adley, I just hope the Orioles just give him a blank check and say, sign what you need and hand it back over.
Coming back to Adley, and not so much him, but him popping that ball out to second. One of the other new rules is making it a larger base sizes, an inch or so.
Yeah.
And
I'm on the fence with that one. I mean, it's going to help with injuries for sure.
Yeah.
Then when we look at guys like Cedric Mullins and we have another guy like Jorge Mateo, I think he can run from first to third in a 2.6 seconds or something crazy, obviously being dramatic there. But those guys are just going to steal bases left and right. And because I think third base, it's not only first base, right? It's third base as well, isn't it?
Yeah, correct.
But I don't think it's not second, is it all bases?
I thought it was all but home. I think, everything but home.
Yeah, it is first, second, third. So, bigger base, it's going to be easier to steal. So when you think of knowing that these guys are going to steal a couple more bases, it's good to have a guy like Adley who's going to be able to, his pop time is 2 seconds because it's there's going to be a lot of base stealing this year in 2023 for sure.
I mean, you think of all the replays that we've seen over the years on somebody stealing a base, and that little extra inch can make a big difference. God. And certainly,
yeah, absolutely, for sure. So, I'm on I love it for our guys who are fast, but whatever. I look, anytime I always say, hey, if the sport can do anything to help injuries, that's great. But the only thing I regret saying is the home plate collisions.
Yeah.
I mean, my God, sometimes when I'm bored, I go back and look at 80s and 90s home plate collisions. Holy hell. Those are fantastic. But yeah, you know what I mean? I mean, look, they're doing that all. I think obviously the number one thing for injuries, but yeah, I think like guys on our team like Jorge Mateo and Cedric Mullins are going to put on a show with those big bases.
Yeah, Nate, I see it as a real possibility of seeing a lot more bases being stolen or attempted to be stolen, and safety should be paramount. I think that there's an excitement level that will come with that as also. Then we also have the pitch clock. A lot of the guys up in the minors been coming up this last few years. They've been seeing it. So it's not going to be new to some of the younger players, but
I mean, pitch clock, look, as much as I love baseball, and if a baseball game went 25 innings, I'm there, man. If I got to work the next day and it's 4 a.m, I just go, all right, I 2 hours of sleep, I'll be okay. I never really complain about the length of the game, but at the same time, you're just your average baseball fan. I think these days, with kids growing up and their attention span is at 0. I think, the league, they're trying to find things to shorten down the game. So the pitch clock, I don't know. What's your opinion on that? I don't have really a big opinion on whether I like it or not. It's kind of like, whatever. Okay.
Dang on, pardon me. Anyway, yeah, I need to be on the NyQuil.
It's all our immune systems over the past couple of years have just gone to garbage now. You know what I mean? Everybody's getting sick now. It's
sleep deprivation, watch those late night games. But
yeah, right. There you go.
I did want to ask you, Nate, are you looking at heading down to Sarasota and checking in any of the spring training games?
I am. I'm actually, it's believe it or not, out of all the years I've been an Orioles fan and always heard about going down, it's the first year I'm doing it. And it was my wife surprised me. We're just sitting there hanging out, watching TV. And she goes, all right, tickets are booked. Good to go. I didn't know what she meant. And she told me, I was, as the kids say these days, tickled pink. No, I'm kidding. But yeah, I was very excited. And I'm very lucky that my wife is a diehard Orioles and sports fan as well. So I don't feel like, I'm dragging her down there. She's very excited as well. But yeah, I'm heading down there, going to I think mid-March. In good weather, I'm assuming. I think we already looked. I don't know how I don't know what app she was on to figure out the weather in March or whatever, but I'm assuming it's going to be like 80 probably down there.
Yeah, you'll see that.
Degrees down in Sarasota in March, right?
You'll see that. I mean, it's mid-70s.
You're the Florida
right
guy. Tell me what I'm probably going to be seeing down there for weather.
You will definitely see that, man. You'll probably see low 80s. I mean, and right now we get mid-70s in the day. We may wake up 57 and go to bed at 79 or 76, something like that. Yeah, it's kind of wild. But
yeah, I'm excited because a lot of the a lot of the guys we've been hearing about part of the future, and I'm excited to see some of these guys play. But we got got a place, I think it's beachfront, and we're doing it up, man.
All right, brother.
We're doing it up. But yeah, I'm excited. I'm finally all these years getting down there to catch some games. And, it's one of those stadiums, no matter where you sit, you got a good seat. And it's going to be fun. It's going to be a good time.
We'll have to catch up because I'm going to be heading down there part of the year too. So
yeah, for sure.
Yeah,
absolutely.
Just an hour and a half down the drive. I tell you what, because I got the Phillies about an hour and a half away. I've got, we got Blue Jays also. They're all about the same. Pirates, all of them very, very close, and the Tigers, I got 20 minutes from here. So,
oh, wow. You're surrounded.
Yeah. So I try to make as many of the minor league games as I can, or see most of the teams that I can anyway. It's a lot of fun.
Yeah, for sure. I've been over the years, when I was a kid, I think I went to a ton more minor league games for obvious reasons. I mean, back then at $4, you can walk in and have good seats, minor league games, but I haven't been to a minor league game in a few years. But minor league games are really fun. It's very personal, sitting in those stadiums up close. Down in Sarasota, I guess I'll have to wear some sunblock down there, I guess. Huh?
Yeah, brother. Or you see the dermatologist every 3 months otherwise. Can you burn that off, please? Yeah.
Right.
I wasn't there before. Is that a parasite or just sunburn? I'm not sure. Oh, Lord. Yeah. No.
Should be fun, man. Should be fun.
Yeah. Well, maybe we'll catch up, grab a bite to eat or something while you're down
for
there.
Sure. Absolutely, man.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
So you're looking forward to the season, man? You got
Yeah, of course I'm looking forward to the season. Now it's look, I'm always looking forward to the season, even when we were in rebuild mode. This is, for obvious reasons, a season to really get, because look, the Orioles weren't supposed to, well, quote unquote, weren't supposed to finish with a winning record last season. And what they did was pretty impressive. And I think that put the pressure on Elias as well. Not saying that he was still in kind of cruise control leading into this season, but with the Orioles finishing 83 and 79, it puts a little pressure on everybody to say, okay, let's stop farting around here. It's ended in a winning season. But I think this season is going to be a very special season for obvious reasons, because fans are going, holy hell, the Orioles might be playing October baseball.
Oh yeah.
You know what I mean? It's pretty cool. So it's almost feels like, in a way, if the Orioles are supposed to play the way they are, the teams that are going to be making it in the playoffs in the American League are just going to be the East.
I'm looking forward to it. It'll be interesting to see. I mean, the Red Sox, I think, are going to have a hard road to drive this year. Chaim Bloom's going to have a lot to say, or a lot to answer for by the end of the year, I'm afraid. And
as long as the Orioles are still in Baltimore, things will be good to go.
There you go, brother. Yeah, a lot of teams can't say that right now, can they? Oh, man, I tell you what I got coming up on future shows. One of them is ownership. Another one's going to be, are they going to add teams? Is it going to be 32? Where do we go from there?
Yeah, I mean, speaking of that, I was just making a funny comment. We don't have to get in. We'll get into it.
No, please go ahead.
No, the Angelos family. I was just making a joke. I should have added the punchline to the end of that of why the Orioles might not be in Baltimore. I don't know if you heard that there was always a rumor this year and last year and the year before of the Orioles possibly leaving, and with the Angelos, everybody suing each other, and it's just falling apart. And the original owner Peter Angelos is sick, so the son John took over, and it's a mess. But
I've been following that little soap opera, and to me, it's been sad and amazing. I mean, it's like the two brothers. It's like one of them with the iron mask. They secured him away some corridor where he can't get out, and Mama said, "Hey, give him a chance." And it's like, good gravy. Then I see on The Athletic a couple things today. Well, they've made peace. They right. Yeah. Made peace. Right. I guess that's what you want to call it. But it just, you don't feel comfortable knowing that, a family like this is owning Baltimore, and then they haven't extended the lease yet. And there was a funny rumor about John Angelos. I think his wife, I think she does something with country music, and they have a house in Nashville. So of course the rumor was, wait a minute, what's they haven't extended the lease. They just bought a house in Nashville. So, of course a lot of fans are on edge, and I think they're going to be on edge until, they extend the lease for however many years. So that ought to be interesting to keep an eye out as well, coming up here in the next few months. Well, yeah. I mean, let's face it, because Vegas and Nashville are two of the places we've heard, for an expansion teams.
And that's why it made us nervous when we heard about John Angelos and his wife getting a place in Nashville. And I don't know how new the house, I don't know the whole story behind it, but kind of made you a little uncomfortable when you hear details like that. And it's just, it's a whole, just a chaotic mess over there at the Angelos family. But like you said, they've made peace and everything should be fine.
Fingers crossed, toes crossed, man.
Right.
Nate, I can't thank you again for coming on here today, man. You got a great, wonderful team this year. You got a young, hungry team. You've got some guys there with some seasoning too. I'm looking forward to seeing what this team does. And Yankees be damned. I want to see the Orioles, climbing up there to the top and surmounting it. I would absolutely love to see you guys.
Well, I appreciate that. We will invite you to the parade on Utah Street when they win that World Series. And I tell you what, I'm not just saying this, the Tampa Bay Rays, it's funny, anytime you get brought up in conversations here over here in Birdland, we have zero beef with the Rays. So anytime the Orioles are not in it, about 90% of fans that I hear talk about, like if the Rays make it, you got Rays fans up here in Baltimore, man. It's good stuff. So we should, let's all come together and knock out the Yankees and the Red Sox and all those guys. So,
all right. Hey, Nate, I want to remind you.
Thanks for having me on. I appreciate it. Obviously, when I get my season started again, I want to get you on. And we tried last time. Unfortunately, things came up.
Yeah.
For you. And again, I'm sorry about that. But yeah, we'll get you on, man. Absolutely. For sure. 100%.
I'll look forward to it. And look for your new season coming up. And hopefully we'll get together down in Sarasota. That's always a lot of fun.
For sure.
But again, if folks want to find you, they can find your past seasons and your other commentary on fullcountchaos.com, and they can follow you on Twitter at fullcountchaos.
You got it, man.
All right. Anything else we should be sharing with those folks?
I think everyone should just be well and be safe, treat each other kindly.
All right. Well, let's you and I go find our NyQuil, and we'll call it a night.
All right, man. Thanks again. You take care of yourself, Mark. I'll talk to you.
All right, take care.
All right. Take care, man. See you later.
I want to thank you again for joining us today here on Baseball Biz on Deck. And also want to thank Nate Andrews from Full Count Chaos. When it comes to Orioles, he does know his business. So I'm looking forward to meeting up with him again real soon, too. Anyway, remember, you can find us here. You can find us on Google Podcasts, Apple Podcasts, iHeartRadio, Spotify, everywhere. Anyway, love us, like us, leave us some notes, and you can also find me, Mark, at the Baseball Biz on Twitter. Thank you, and take care. We'll talk with you again real soon. Special thanks to X-Take RUX for the music rocking forward.